The world's full of some terrifying creatures who'd have no trouble making a quick meal out of us humans. But, known as the giant short-faced bear, it hailed from South America and lived around 2.5 million years ago. With an average weight close to 2 tons, Arctotherium Angustidens takes the title for biggest bear to have ever lived. For some context, polar bears, the largest land carnivore alive today, are less than half the weight of these ancient bears. On top of that, these guys could reach an intimidating 14 feet when stood upright. That's higher than a one-story building. Okay, so they're really tall and really heavy, but that must slow them down, right? Well, considering that the close relative of this bear, the Arctotherium, a smaller genus within the giant short-faced bear family, could reach a terrifying top speed of 40 miles per hour, it's likely that these guys would have clocked up a speedy pace too. So, unless you've got wheels and an engine, there wouldn't have been much chance of escaping. And escaping is definitely what you'd want to do. Broken fossilized teeth revealed that this bear chains of the carnivorous Haast's eagle are anything to go by. Now, these particular remains were found in the South Island of New Zealand. With a wingspan of up to 10 feet, the remains are so large that the bird is now considered to be the biggest eagle ever. The skeleton indicated it would have stood around half the height of an average man, and weighed in at some 40 pounds. That's 4 times that of a bald eagle. The main prey of these enormous eagles were moa, a flightless bird that was 15 times heavier than their hunter. Moa bone remains show that Haast's eagles killed their prey by flying at them from behind and tackling them with their knife-like 3-inch talons before gripping and crushing the moa's skull. Legends from the indigenous Maori people of New Zealand detail huge birds swooping down and plucking up a small child who was never to be seen again. But in the 16th century, just 200 years after the Maori population settled on the South Island, they got their revenge. Human overhunting of the moa likely led to the eagle's eventual extinction, and with that, Maori children could finally rest easy. Bode 4 years raid in-game to get your hands on 4 legendary skill tomes, along with other bonuses. Now, get your raid battle squad together for protection, ready to face some more terrifying ancient animals. Number 18, Josephoartigasia Monesi. Number 18, Josephoartigasia Monesi. So New York is, pretty famous for its massive rats. Some of them can get as big as small dogs and house cats. But honestly, as big as a New York rat may be, their ancient cousins were on a whole different level. Introducing Josephoartigasia Monesi, who lived way back between 4 to 2 million years ago. This creature is considered to be the largest rodent to ever walk the face of the earth. These South American horrors measured up to 10 feet long and weighed up to a whopping 2,200 pounds. For a little perspective, that's around the same weight as 12 adult humans. But size isn't the only thing to watch out for with these mega rats. They also had these horrifying incisors, almost a whole foot long. When scientists studied Josephoartigasia Monesi's skull, they found that these rodents had a bite force of 3,600 pounds per square inch, or PSI, which is right up there with the bite force of a saltwater crocodile. Thankfully, these colossal rodents weren't carnivorous killers. Scientists believe Josephoartigasia Monesi used those giant incisors for biting nuts and wood, digging in the ground for food, or defending themselves from predators. And with those massive teeth, anything that messed with them would be sliced up in seconds. Suddenly, New York City's rat problem doesn't seem so bad, huh? Number 17, Megalania. Number 17, Megalania. So, about 2.5 million years ago, the dusty plains of Australia were home to some real terrors, but none could really compete with the giant monitor lizard known as Megalania. Picture a hulked-out version of a Komodo dragon. These prehistoric predators could reach a massive 23 feet long, making them more than twice the size of their Komodo descendants. And just like Komodo dragons, Megalania are believed to have had venomous glands inside their jaws. But the prehistoric horrors of Australia don't end with Megalania. The Thylacoleo carnifex, an extinct marsupial lion, dominated the Australian wilderness between 2 million and 46,000 years ago. Fossil evidence shows this wombat-lion hybrid measured around 5 feet long, about 2.5 feet tall, and weighed about 220 pounds. So, at their largest, they were about the same weight as a modern jaguar, but just a bit stockier. However, unlike jaguars, Thylacoleo carnifex weren't equipped with sharp canine teeth. Instead, these monstrous marsupials had 2 pairs of giant incisors. that they used to stab and pierce the flesh of their prey. And let me tell you, it was quite the stab. Their bite force was comparable to that of a 500-pound African lion. This is thanks to their enormous jaw muscles, which basically turned every tooth in their mouth into a weapon. While their incisors were used for piercing prey, their molars were designed to, well, the details are highly speculative, because only tooth and jaw bones have actually been discovered. But even those few bones are enough to estimate that they stood around 10 feet tall and weighed up to 1,200 pounds, making them about twice as tall and nearly 3 times as heavy as silverback gorillas. Being located in southern China, it's likely that bamboo was a staple of its diet. Still, I definitely wouldn't want to mess with these things, considering that even a silverback gorilla is strong enough to pummel a human into mincemeat. So, what caused such a big, broad beast to go extinct? Well, it was actually because it was so big and broad. The Gigantopithecus blackie relied on eating heaps of food just to keep itself going. But around 100,000 years ago, the changing climate turned more and more of its forested homeland into savanna-like landscapes, which really cut down the food supply for these primates. But who knows, maybe a few survived and walk among us to this day. I mean, it would definitely explain why your mom looks the way she does. Number 14, Daeodon. Number 14, Daeodon. By and large, pigs these days are pretty harmless, but that hasn't always been the case. If we turn the clocks back 23 million years ago, Daeodon, or dreadful pigs,